Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. So for today's video, as you can see, it's the month of October. So obviously, for the entire month, it's gonna be nothing but spooky movies because it's my favorite time of the year, and as far as I'm concerned, it's year round. So granted, I probably would have done this anyway, but still, eventually I would have done it. Anyway, I'm using this as an excuse to talk about spooky stuff, strictly. October, yay. So, okay, I've already reviewed it, the first part of this film, not that long ago, really not that long ago. So, let's talk about the sequel. So, yeah, it's actually got a sequel for some reason, I guess. I mean, I did like the first one, but I guess the people behind the movie thought it warrants a sequel for whatever reason. But whatever the case may be, let's just get into it, shall we? Just thought, why not? Let's just get into the craziness. More Japanese horror film. Anyway, as usual, let's talk about the plot, shall we? So, here we go. Oh yeah, things get pretty wild as you might expect. Just one day, a mysterious box had arrived, and a curse began to spread all around. The source of this box, it has something to do with the village, of course. Like in the first movie, the village is hidden within this specific forest, a suicide spot that was once you enter, you can never get out. So it's kind of like a spiritual curse kind of a thing. By the way, folks, there is actually a suicide forest in Japan, by the way. That actually does exist. So I'm guessing that's where they got the inspiration from for this. I guess I'm just using it as a educated guess. I guess. Anyway, so okay, that's a thing. I guess. Sure, whatever. But things start get pretty damn wired as I might expect. And oh yeah, one thing I would definitely say is that I did actually like the whole bit where the character actually one of the characters used like this live streaming thing in the forest, which just reminded me of a certain YouTuber that actually went to that forest, and there was like a whole lot of controversy and outrage. What an asshole. Anyway, so yeah, this whole technology thing and whatnot is being used in the movie, which honestly does make it more realistic in the sense that in a more modern age, that doesn't seem much of a stretch that someone would actually do that, of course. So it makes it realistic in that sense, of course. And as I said quite a few times before, sometimes the best parts of fiction has some truth in it. And I can definitely say that for this film, of course. Oh, definitely. And yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that's what this film is going to center around. Of course, things can get pretty wild, as you might expect, which it should. Of course, things will get pretty crazy. Obviously, of course, things will get pretty wild. But yeah, I don't mind that really. So I just thought that'd be a good way to talk about this kind of a thing and just go into this craziness, of course. Yeah, these types of movies tend to be wild, of course. And but yeah, I just thought I'd just talk about this because of the fact I like the stories in here. I do like the story in the series and whatnot. I just thought I might as well just get to another one of these because of course. And I like the story though. The story for this was actually quite nice, actually. I mean, nice in the sense that it was. I guess it's trying to make it interesting in some ways. Well, in other ways, it does help. So pretty much what's going on here in this movie is that, yeah, this is about a cursed box that is linked to Japan's suicide forest. And yes, just like the first one, this was definitely a slower burn. It's slower than usual and compared to the American horror films, which, yes, I do realize that this kind of a thing is something that a whole lot of people are not used to, at least not in the United States anyway. So I'm just letting anyone who's interested to watch this, just letting y'all know about that. But yes, nevertheless, this does get pretty creepy. This gets really weird. But again, the slow pace might get on some people's nerves. The slow pace might get on some people's nerves because of that. Because a lot of people, at least in the United States, tend to be accustomed for stuff to be more faster. Tend to be more fast paced. But I guess by doing so, you might sacrifice some special moments. Having a slow burn kind of a feel to it might actually help the story out. You get to feel the characters more, like in the sense that like their personal lives, the way they will live, the way they will interact with each other. The more slower paced burning kind of a thing does allow to give the viewer more of a sense of the characters' lives, how they live and whatnot. So the slow pace actually does benefit the plot in a lot of ways. I mean, yes, a lot of American viewers may not like that because of that, but personally speaking, it doesn't bother me really. But that's probably because of the fact that I've got accustomed to this kind of stuff because I've watched so many Asian horror films, and I do mean a lot. And I do mean plenty. But yeah, I know a lot of people would get bothered by the fact it's rather sluggish, which it absolutely is. But you get a feel how this entire environment is. And that's the thing, this film does really attempt to focus on the environment, really, when you think about it. The locations, stuff like that, of course. And then in the grand scheme of things, the whole idea where yes, there's curses and whatnot, that's going to be definitely a thing, just like in the first movie. But here we are. Though I'm not the one to really believe in the whole voodoo that people believe that others would do, witchcraft and all that jazz. I don't believe in none of that mumbo jumbo. I just want to throw that disclaimer there. That's just completely nonsensical as far as I'm concerned. I mean, movie wise, I can see why they're trying to get this in a story that's a way to make it believable in a sense that this happens in the movie's universe. So there you go. So yes, I do believe that the film does offer some sharp direction with some crazy camera angles that quickly put the viewers in on the edge, and he has some unexpected changes throughout the entire film, for which I do think is a good thing. I appreciate it though, folks. I do like the differences between the style of filmmaking throughout the entire story, of course. Yes, I do believe this overall story is solid enough, is different enough, as often when it comes to these Japanese ghost related movies go to, of course. It's pretty creepy, of course. It's pretty eerie in some ways, of course. And I do like the fact that these types of movies that tends to be different, which yes, I've often realized that is usually in these Asian horror films that yeah, the people who are behind these kind of films are fine with trying to expand their imagination to get really creative and whatnot. But that's the thing though. I do kind of wish in a lot of ways. Okay, I do wish a lot in a lot of ways where I do considering the fact that I do complain about the American industry, American film industry. I mean that they would just recite the same thing over and over. There's a lot of American remakes, or just a lot of movies in general have the same kind of plot, like it's been done like 50 times over. And that's the thing when it comes to a lot of movies over here in the United States, which is unfortunate, of course. I do believe that a lot of the American companies, studios, I mean, should take more risks. And a lot of these Japanese, or I should say Asian horror films, really do that. They do take risks. I mean, rather than succeed or fail is not a debate, really, but hey, at least on the bright side, it's always best to attempt and fail than not try at all. At least that's my saying, and that's what I believe. That's my go-to saying, I guess. Anyway, in the grand scheme of things, this isn't too shabby. It's pretty crazy. It gets pretty wild. It gets pretty crazy through the entire thing and whatnot. I do like that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that yes, it's folklore heavy, very folklore heavy, folks. For definitely. So yes, just like the first movie, it goes in lines with the first movie, where the first movie really combined a lot of the folklore from Japan and just combined it. They just did like a combination of different stories from the folklore, and this movie is no different than that. They put into the same thing to make a creative experience that seems a bit more unique compared to the American counterparts. And yes, the same thing. They just combine a lot of folklore stuff into one movie. Just again, just like in the first film, of course. So after some teen friends find this mysterious box, when they arrive into a spot under a house of one of them, strange events lead to a certain character to believe that they are cursed. Let's just say that seeing her sister's downfall, a character must discover the truth before the curse gets to them all. Whether they succeed in doing that or not, you just have to watch the movie yourself, of course. So there's that, obviously. There's a lot of elements from the folklore, like we're saying, folks, like the whole basic ghost hunting thing, premise. People had got accustomed to it when it comes to the Japanese stories. Not a bad thing, really. These types of movies are good enough to keep people hooked through the entire thing. But again, the Western audience, the American audiences might feel a bit annoyed on the heavy drama related kind of a thing, I guess, when it comes to acting and whatnot. So there you go. So it gets pretty dramatic through the entire thing. Obviously, just throwing it out there. But anyway, I will recommend this because I like the overall story. I like the acting. The acting isn't too bad. I mean, yeah, it's like I was saying, it does get pretty dramatic. The acting from the actors and actors, of course, must reflect the source material in which they were trying to do. So yeah, it can be pretty dramatic, obviously. So there you go. So I don't mind reviewing these kinds of movies, of course. I do like Asian horror films anyway, and it's not that I haven't reviewed Asian cinema before, of course. I don't mind it really. It's just that since it's October, I'm going to use this as a convenient excuse to talk about more of these stuff, of course. And I don't mind doing it, folks. I really don't mind doing this kind of a thing, quite obviously. Anyway, so here we are talking about more of this kind of a thing where I'll be talking about the acting is really good, the music's fine. The music really does have to help the film. I mean, yes, okay, that's like the most obvious thing ever, but you'd be surprised on how many people would would be I guess ignorant on that. Horror films need music. Horror films definitely need music, of course. I mean, it doesn't have to be in every second of the film, of course. Not every second of a film is required to have music, of course. You can have more of the natural sounds, of course. Anyway, nevertheless, I'll give this film a Nova rating of a 7.1 out of 10. It's a 7.1 out of 10 for me. So thanks for watching. Take care. See ya. Later.